All right, dudes. Got another build update for you guys. This time, it's going to be specifically about a new character we've been playing. I mean, if you guys have been paying attention to the videos and stuff, you probably would have already seen this guy's hardcore, which is, you know, 1 life. Solo self-found, which is no trading or grouping or anything like that. Go to deaths here. He's got 0 deaths currently. Can happen anytime. But this guy is a Warbringer. And in general, Titan is awesome. I love Titan. But I wanted to try out the other Ascendancy and make like a little bit of like a leveling guide. And so what we ended up doing was playing a Warbringer and leveled him up hardcore solo self-found just to see how it went, and it's been fun. We are now level 80, and we're doing pretty good. We're pumping. If at any time this guy could just get sent to normal solo self-found, and I'd probably keep playing him for a little while at least. But so far so good. I'd like to show you guys what I've been doing. But yeah, in general, to start the discussion, Warbringer or Titan, Titan is very versatile. If you're not really sure what you want to do with your skills or your build, or you want to do some weird stuff, Titan is probably really good for that because it just gives you more health, gives you more armor, and it gives you 50% extra like small passives, and that pretty much works for anybody. Warbringer does a couple things particularly well. Warbringer is good at armor break stuff, it's good at totem stuff, it's good at block, and it's good at Warcry stuff. And we're making use of a couple of those things right now. So first thing for our Ascendancy, it lets you use any shield regardless of what its block chance is, and give that shield a 40% base chance to block. And then later on, if you can deal with the 35% less block chance, and this isn't just whatever your block chance is minus 35, it's trying to pulls your whole block chance down by 35% less. So that's pretty rough. But if you can get enough of it, and maybe this special shield called the Svalin, then you can benefit from the other thing that it does, which is block damage from all hits while shield is not raised. So it allows you to block slams, which are pretty cool. Lets you block AoE hits, which is wild. So that's really powerful defense, but it comes at a big cost. It's kind of like acrobatics. It's block acrobatics. But another thing that we're doing right now is, although we leveled up and we used a little bit of armor break, we even used a little bit of the Jade Heritage, which is like just basically it gives you like a ice block with a health bar on it. I don't like that, but I do like the fact that it gave me 1% physical damage reduction per stack of the 10 stacks, which is really cool. So 10% phys damage reduction was pretty nice. However, it blocks 360. It just blocks just anything. Without your shield raised, it's pretty cool. You have to get a lot of block though. But another thing we're doing is Warcaller's Bellow, where corpses in your presence, they explode when you Warcry, dealing 25% of their life as physical damage, and then you can also have Warcries have no cooldown. So normally you can have no cooldown on Seismic Cry anyway, but you also have no cooldown on Infernal Cry, which can lead to some pretty big damage, which is pretty sweet. Pow! So we have a lot of increased Warcry speed, as you can tell as well. So what we do with that is, gameplay-wise, we're basically jumping around, priming enemies for stun with Leap and with Seismic Cry, and then we're bone shattering them, exploding them, and then we explode all the remaining corpses to blow everything else up too. Now we also have, when we go over our skills, a bleed that we apply called Corrupting Blood from Seismic Cry. So enemies are getting dotted down, and if they're foolish enough to die in my presence, then we explode them. So we also get to just Leap, Infernal Cry, Bone Shatter, which does like giga AoE, right? Because Bone Shatter explodes everything, and then if they have Infernal Cry, their bodies are destabilized, so they kind of explode, and then we blow up their exploded corpse. It's kind of metal, but it's pretty fun. What we've got going for the rest of our skills and how we kind of go about this is we are going over the top for strength. I have this little teeny extra bit of increased fire damage, damage penetrates fire resistance, even more fire damage, and then fire damage, damage penetrates fire resistance, and then ignite magnitude, because most of my single target is perfect strike. Bow. 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 Just kind of powering up between each one of them, right? So you get a lot of big pumps on bosses with that, which is cool. Then we're coming down, going through here. I guess first things first, we can talk about this. I actually am grabbing this armor and this life regen to get this block. If you didn't want to, I mean, like, you don't really need this, or you didn't want to get this, you don't have to, but that's what I did. A little bit of life regen, a little bit of strength, which is nice. You get both strength thingies, because your Corrupting Cry scales off your strength, by the way. Corrupting Cry only scales off a few different things, and strength is one of them. So, we're going block chance, more block chance, just because it's kind of easy to access. Then we go over here. The leveling tree is a little bit different. Literally just grabbed onto my thing. So my treadmill is a walking pad, if you're curious. You can come over to Twitch, type !treadmill if you want to check it out. Then we go over here for the one-handed damage. So we still, at this point, I still want to be doing damage with hits, because that's one of the ways that we kind of start the party in terms of the explosions of the corpses. And without hit damage, then it just kind of feels weird. Eventually, you can just run around and just kill stuff with your shout, but I'm not sure I want to go that route, and I'm currently just not there. So we're still doing hit damage, getting some damage with one-handed, and getting some attack speed and dexterity, which is nice, because I'm not currently using Resolute Technique, so I do want to actually be able to hit enemies. Resolute Technique would be fine, we're just not doing it right now. And I'll show you why. So then we go over here for Warcry cooldown recovery. Doesn't do anything, but making it do more damage is nice, and then making them have more AoE and have increased empowered attack damage is sick. Then I come down here for all the strength wheel, including beef. And I'll even pop over here for a little bit of armor and 15% strength there, which is sweet. A little bit of extra dam there for just, but also strength is life, right? So strength is life and damage for us for two reasons. Corrupting Cry, and we take the node down there that I'll get to in a second. So come over here. I am having to get a little bit of dex because my boots require some dex, so don't worry about that too much. Strength would be ideal, but dex is fine too. So we're taking the reduced attack speed, more damage nodes. They're just a little bit too good to pass up. It is kind of weird that we have to get the reduced attack speed, but it is what it is, and it's fine for now. Come over here, get all the Warcry stuff for sure. Empowered attacks deal more damage with Warcries, which does actually scale the corrupted blood effect, which is cool. Then more damage with Warcries themselves, more AoE is great. We take the extra damage here. I'm not taking the Warcries Empower additional attack because they have no cooldown. So, don't need that right now. Another thing I want to mention before I forget, I wanted to play a Warbringer. I had an idea of doing like fire and armor break, but and then block. But when I was putting in the talents, it just looked like it was going to be stretched too thin. It was going to be hard to do AoE and single target. So we decided to do the Warcry thing. And I want to give a shout out to Carnarius, who is somebody who has given some like inspiration to how to make the Warcry thing work. So shout outs to him. We're not doing the exact same thing as him. But he was definitely a big help for like figuring out like, okay, what kind of Warcry stuff do I need for a Warcry Warbringer? So shout outs to him. We're going for some socket stuff. My sockets aren't great. Again, we're hardcore solo self-bound, so we're kind of just making do with what we got here. But we have some cool stuff, and I'll show you what we got. This is armor, damage with maces, knockback distance, which does affect my seismic cry, which is funny, and rage when I get hit. Then we have this node, which is a bunch of strength. Reduced mana, we don't care, we don't use mana, and it's giving me strength, or increased damage per strength. So what are we getting? We're getting like 20% increased damage off of this, something like that. It ain't much. Maybe just a little bit more than that. 21% increased damage, if my math checks out on that. You know, it's something, and it'll keep going up. And just increased damage does, this is one of those things that affects the Warcry bleed damage, which is cool. I am coming down here for the max resistance stuff. I'm a big fan of max res. And this helps me get 79 across the board with 82 fire, which is cool. Then we come down here for a little bit more Warcry stuff. Again, Warcry recovery rate doesn't matter, but we do have a Warcry speed like crazy, and we get 2% of life and mana when you use a Warcry. Again, we don't have any mana, but 2% life is cool. That way we're not just like destroying ourselves by casting Warcries. And eventually, when I have more life, my Warcries will probably actually heal me. But we just need more life so that the 2% of my life is more than the cost of the skill. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Now we can go up a little bit. So we go up here for strength, stun threshold, max life, which is always nice. Another jewel socket, which is giving me extra fire resistance corrupted on there. But stun build up, don't worry about the totem damage. Global Fizz. Global Fizz is one of the things that affects the Warcry bleed, and then 20% increased Warcry speed, which is pretty sweet. For my mapping build, we'll take some AoE for attacks, which is mostly just for Bone Shatter and Leap. Stun build up, damage, and then more AoE if we stun an enemy recently. But increased area of effect if you've stunned an enemy recently is not area effect for attacks. It's just AoE, so I think this does scale my Warcry AoE, which is cool. Then we go over here for extra lightning resistance. all resistance and cold resistance up to here, which is just giving me just generic damage, generic attack damage right here. And then this is like 100% increased attack damage, which is sick. We go for blood magic, so I don't have to worry about mana. Another jewel socket, which gives me some dexterity corrupted on there, which is cool. Fire damage, which is good for perfect strike. Warcry speed is great. Don't do any bleed right now, but getting 2 rage when hit is also fine for rage generation. Then we go up here for physical damage. So this does scale my Warcry bleed, the corrupted blood thing, corrupted blood. It does scale it and gives me some attack speed, which is pretty sweet. Very nice. Then we go up here for some more Warcry stuff. Warcry speed, AoE. Beautiful, beautiful node. This is really funny right here. Warcry speed into this. Increased cooldown recovery rate, doesn't do anything, but it does give us 8% increased damage for each time you've Warcried recently. Recently being 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot of, that's a lot of increased damage if it doesn't have like a DR point, right? So if you can look at the actual like thing, it does increase the damage by quite a bit, right? So let's see what it goes down to. All right, so it goes from 6.9 on perfect strike, just tooltip, to like 8.9. So and that's significant, right? Takes your perfect strike actual attack. Let's see what it does. I mean, Hammer of the Gods might be an easier thing, right? Because you can just look at the number. 56k, but perfect strikes actually does more for me anyway. Yeah, it's a nice little damage increase, and it's pretty funny that's how it works. So for the rest of the build that I want to do, I think what I'm going to do with the rest of my talent points is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So those points right there would take me to 94, which is pretty high, especially solo self-found hardcore. But what it would do is it would allow me to get 6%, 18%, 30%, 55% increased physical damage, which is scaling the bleed. The armor break is kind of whatever, but 55% increased physical damage is a lot of damage for my my Warcry. And then I would do more block with increased damage for 1% chance to block, and then I would anoint probably this, unless I wanted to put more points in. Like if I wanted to not do this, and I wanted to put more points in block, I could just like spec for this, and then anoint like this if we ever got anything, if we ever got enough for that, which this is probably ridiculous. Disgust, fear, isolation. So isolation would probably be pretty hard to get, but fear it's not that hard to get. But that would be kind of crazy. What's this one? 2 fears and an envy? Yeah, that might even be easier than isolation, but this takes a lot more pathing. Regardless, I'd probably take just damage per chance to block, and it would give me like 60% chance to block eventually. And I'd have like 60% increased damage, which would be pretty cool. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking for the rest of the build. So now we just got to level up and go from there. But I can show you guys what I'm doing with my skills. So one thing I want to mention about this setup is that, one, I don't really use my Mace Strike that much. 2, Earth Shatter is a bit of a no-brainer when it comes to this setup, this build. But for whatever reason, I've still enjoyed jumping in and Bone Shattering or building up a primed for stun effect just with the shouts and then Bone Shattering them to explode everything. But once you do enough damage, you can just Earth Shatter to kill one mob and then just go pow, 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 and just blow up the whole screen. I still like Bone Shatter. I may eventually try Earth Shatter, but that's what I'm doing for right now. Anyway, Mace Strike is just kind of a placeholder. I don't really use it. Bone Shatter, one of the things that's nice is that this is very like realistic because all my skills are just like 3 slots, right? Impact Shockwave, it creates the big AoE around it. It breaks armor, which is cool because eventually when I get one more thing, we can do armor break, armor explosion. But right now I'm just using this to give me scavenge plating very reliably because we do Bone Shatter things frequently. And then I just give it more AoE just to hit in a bigger AoE. Hammer of the Gods, I have it with Ancestrally boosted. I have it more max physical damage, and I have it hitting for a little bit less attack speed, but more damage. Hammer of the Gods, I don't really use it that often. I don't really rely on its damage that hard, but I do like to snipe rares with it, and I'll drop it on a boss sometimes too. I could do more with Hammer of the Gods, but it's just, like, I could even use Earth Shatter here, or even, yeah, like Earth Shatter here would be fine instead of Hammer of the Gods, but I like having Hammer of the Gods available just to, again, snipe rares from a distance. Leap Slam, I have Leap Slam maiming enemies. I don't really need the damage on Leap Slam that much, but having them be slowed when I jump on them is kind of nice. We also have it with more attack speed and giving me Consecrated Ground. If I didn't want to use Maim, I could use Despoiler, and I could have the Consecrated Ground effect lasts longer, which would be fine. I do that on my Titan, but this is fine for now. I kind of like the Maim. Maim just slows them. Slower movement speed and 15% reduced evasion rating. Kind of nice. Because I don't have 100% accuracy, I have 99, so if they have any evasion, it kind of strips that off a little bit. Perfect Strike is our main single target heavy hitter. Bow! Use this while leveling, loved it, keep using it now. This has a shorter timing window for more damage for less AoE, but doesn't really matter because it's pretty small AoE anyway. Just bapping them. We're using this to deal just more fire damage. It deals like pretty much all fire damage when you Perfect Strike it. So it does, the Perfect Strike is 80% of physical damage converted to fire damage, so just big damn. Always ignites, so the fire damage there is nice too, a bigger ignite. And then it also will consume 10 rage if possible, and we're pretty much always gonna have 10 rage against the boss, because we'll Infernal Cry with the rage generator. So we'll always have rage, so we can always consume rage for 35% more damage on bosses. If I didn't want to do that, what we could do is we could just put like Primal Weapon on there. Let me see, where's Primal Weapon? Did I put it back in my stash? I want to keep it around. Primal Weapon is also fine. It's just like 25% more damage instead of 35, but it doesn't cost rage. Could go either way with it, right? But usually you'll have some rage, and you're usually using this anyway. Whether you're fighting a rare or a boss, just pop it on and just pow. So that's Perfect Strike. Seismic Cry, that's this one. This is like kind of one of your main damage abilities, actually. It's pretty funny how it works. So the reason why is because we have Corrupted Blood on there. It does reduce the AoE, but it's still fine AoE. And it deals 25% of your strength as physical damage per second. So again, all that strength and physical damage nodes that we're taking is going to scale this. It lasts for 5 seconds, and it supports Warcry, so we're popping off with that one. We have it with Brutality. It deals more physical damage, doesn't deal any other kind of damage, which it already doesn't do anyway, so it just buffs the physical damage that it deals. This will make it deal 35% more non-ailment damage over time. Corrupted Blood is not an ailment, so it just deals 35% more damage over time, but makes it last not quite as long, which is fine. Just makes it bleed out faster. And I actually have Overpower on this. Another fun one to use would be the one that makes it cost less, so it can heal you, almost. Putting more AoE on this would be fine. Putting more like damage on this. Somehow, I don't know if you can put any more damage on it, but I actually really like using it as a stun build-up tool, because then you can just like shout at them until they're bone shatterable and then you whack them. It's pretty fun, actually. And that's why I have this one set up. Infernal Cry, we have this doing more damage when you empower it. We have it giving me rage when I use it, and we have it actually consuming rage to deal 30% more damage to the next attack, right? So using this, whacking them. Whacking them. And against the boss, it's interesting because you're going to get 4 rage per 5 power. Bosses have 20 power, right? So when you Warcry at them, it's going to give you like 20 rage. Or is it 16 rage? Yeah, 16 rage. So it will... I think this is one of the weird things, is I almost want to take this out or not use this, because you're not even really getting enough rage to use both of them, but I think it's okay. It kind of makes sense, right? But you also could just take this out, and I think I've been considering it, taking this out and just stacking up a ton of rage, and I think that's gonna maybe even hit harder, right? But if you can use it twice, it's weird, it's because it's like it feels like you should be able to build up a ton of rage, but every time you shout, like, is that how it works? It's gonna give you, yeah, so against the boss you can use it multiple times. Against a rare you're not gonna be able to, but against the boss you'll be able to get enough rage to both support the enraged Warcry and the Perfect Strike. Against a rare, not really, unless there's a bunch of enemies around. Anyway, you're using this to generate rage, but also consume rage to have like a really nasty Perfect Strike on a boss, right? So right now, my chest piece has Spirit on it, so I'm able to use Overwhelming Presence. I wouldn't necessarily always use this, so don't get too hung up on this one, but it is kind of nice to have the reduced stun threshold on enemies. Makes it easier for you to build up your shout bone shatter combo, right? But what I would use all the time is Scavenged Plating. At least for my build right now, using bone shatter, I'm using Scavenged Plating. It is a really fun build, yeah. With extra duration on it, I'm also, no matter what auras I use, I would always want to use these things for the moment. Using Cannibalism to give me life recovered on kill, mandatory. Herbalism is chill. Doesn't cost very much, but it makes your flask do more healing, which is great. Sometimes you don't always need healing, but when you're flasking, you do definitely want it. Time of need, I have that with less duration, so it goes off more frequently. Right now, I'm using precision. You don't need precision if you're playing resolute technique. And right now, I'm using vitality. You don't need vitality unless you have the spirit to maintain it. If you're using mana, which I did for most of the campaign, I was using clarity, but I don't use mana now, so I don't need that, right? But this setup right now is kind of like the overwhelming presence would come off and vitality would come off if I didn't have this chest that gave me 50 spirit, right? With that, this is what I would do without it. You can't put vitality on, I don't think, with this anyway. Like, I'm using precision, but if I didn't have precision, we would still not have enough to use vitality. But because we do have enough, then we are, which is pretty fun. So we're rocking that for now, and that's cool. Sometimes in mapping you could use Herald of Ash. I would like to use Berserk, but I don't really maintain enough rage for that right now, and you probably would want to take out Enraged Warcry if you were going to do that for mapping, but Berserk also drains my HP, which makes me a little scared in maps. I don't like them draining my HP. And then in terms of my gear, we are looking for, as usual, resists, life, and strength on every single piece. Rarity's cool, other stats are cool, accuracy is not what I need eventually, but I'll use it for now if I have it. That's all my armor, basically. Weapons, you want increased percent fizz. Again, it has accuracy on it, but I think it has the accuracy percent fizz hybrid roll, which is pretty cool. So this is a big weapon. It has fire damage instead of fizz damage, but it also has melee skills and strength. So on a weapon, you want like big percent fizz, big added fizz, percent fizz accuracy hybrid roll. Then for your suffixes, you want like all skills. I would say strength for this build and attack speed would be sick. And this has quite a few of those things, so it's pretty darn good. Rings, I want life and resists. This gives me fire because it's a fire ring with added lightning resist on there and life, which is cool. Life leech is fine. Intelligence is fine. I don't really use much intelligence besides my gems, but I have way more intelligence than I need. Probably rather have dex for the boots, I guess. The chest piece, you want big life, big resists. This is a spirit life armor triple res chest. So we are wearing this. This is pretty dang cool. I even have it socketed up with life right now just because I don't need the resists right now. That's just the best thing I can get. My amulet, you want life, probably resists, melee skills is cool. Strength would be great here too. This amulet, I've been wearing this for a very long time, and it's very okay just because of the melee skills, but it's just okay. If we wanted to find something that gave me a whole bunch more life, maybe it's honestly even worth gambling amulets at this point. A lot more life would be sick. We don't even use mana. Armor is kind of a low roll anyway. It's whatever. It's just, we've just been using this forever. And we should probably get a new one. But that's what I got right now. My shield. Shield, I want like resists and life, and armor is fine, and strength. The same thing, right? Any piece that's not a weapon, I basically want the same thing. Resist, life, strength. Armor is fine too. We don't actually need block on the shield as a Warbringer, which is neat. But eventually, if we're not using the second Ascendancy, it can have block on it, then we can move the Ascendancy point to something else, like just 10% more fizz damage DR would be fine. Boots, you want a movement speed for sure, and after that you want resists, life, strength. This has a teeny bit of life. It does have chaos resist, which is cool, but it mostly has movement speed, which is insane. We want 35 though, that's fine. This belt is big life flask recovery, which is fine, but you want, again, life resists. Everything else is kind of whatever. Strength, well, life resists strength, I should say. You want that, and maybe even resist life strength if we're, or like doing, you know, order of importance there. This is pretty cool. These gloves, they have attack speed, which is sick. You can get life, attack speed, resist, and you can even have added fizz damage to it, which is pretty nice. So these are kind of an offensive style glove, but they do have 34 resist, so not too bad. Definitely could have more life strength, would be nice, but the fact that it has attack speed is sick. I'm using a chaos resist flask right now, or chaos resist charm, because my chaos resist is just not capped. Then I'm using a flask that just gives me a whole bunch more life recovered. It removes 15% of life recovered from mana when used, and I'm worried that it could either be free, where it's just giving me a bunch of life recovery for free because I don't have mana, or it could be draining my life to heal my life, which is kind of odd. But you know, that's what we got cooking right now. We have like 15 minutes. I could probably hop in a map to show you guys what we're doing. See if we can find one that's not going to take a year and a half. and one that's not gonna kill me, I hope. But that's what we're cooking with right now, boys. Maybe even a map that has a boss in it. Oh, Crypt should be a pretty quick run, right? Yeah. Let's do that. They have a chance to poison me, but it's okay. This way we can at least show you guys what the gameplay looks like. But keep in mind, there's tons more gameplay in the live tab on YouTube and the VODs of Twitch and everything like that, so we're chilling. So, get in the map, maybe do a little bit of Warcry action, just to get yourself warmed up. You see some enemies, you can just Warcry them into submission, into stun threshold breakthrough, or you can leap on top. I said heroic leap. Boom! And then once you kill them, once anything in your presence is foolish enough to die, you just detonate them. So you'll see that they can bleed out and die. Or you can bone shatter them to slay them as well. Get some of this going. What's nice is to be able to like leap into them, Infernal Cry, and then bone shatter, but it's not really going that smooth right now. So we also have the option of taking fights a little more slowly. As we're increasing our map tier, I'm definitely thinking about like taking fights a little bit more cautiously and just like, you know, using my war cries to juice them up. But in this situation right there, that's nice. That's a real nice combo, right? You leap in, Infernal Cry, Bone Shatter. I mean, everything's going off really slowly because this guy's temporal bubble, but still. Leap in, Infernal, Bone Shatter, Seismic, and everything like super blows up, right? Super nice. Hi, Sam. Hi, buddy. So it's good for AoE, and then you have Perfect Strike to do the single target stuff. Almost done, buddy. Almost done. No, don't gank me, boy. Don't gank me, Sammy boy. Hold on now, big boy. Yeah, we'll come through and do all this other content in a second. We gotta kill this stuff. Why you ganking me, man? These cats get so much love, and it's almost time for me to be done streaming. So he's telling me about it. He's like, hey, dude, you're on the clock. It's almost Pet Samson time. Almost. What, boy? What, boy? What, boy? All right, go get in your bed for a minute. Let me finish this up. He says, no, I'm gonna come gank you. Come on, man. Get out of here. He's gonna come right back up. Go upstairs with the Jenny and Archer on the clock, bud. Come on, man. Give me some room. Back it up. Gotta muscle you out of here. Gotta war cry at you, back you up. All right, he's chill for now. This has Delirious. It does not. Not this one, I don't think. This one has Expedition. But once you get enough damage, you can just kind of like shout people into submission. Just bleed them, and then once they're done bleeding, you explode them, right? You gotta find some way to get the party started. But we can go fight the boss. Boss fights are pretty straightforward too. As long as you don't have like a cat on your keyboard. That can make things a little bit more interesting. But yeah, if things are foolish enough to die, then they can get owned. So against the boss, we'll just pop on my other set just for a teeny tiny bit more AoE. We have not optimized my AoE versus other things set up yet. Let me just move Samson again. He's trying to nub on my keyboard. All right. So against bosses, what madness is this? What we can do is juice them up with some bleeds right off the bat. Juice them up, 10 stack. We can get a couple war cries out. Start bonk on this fool. Just bap him. Just hit him in the chest with some perfect strikes. Just smack him. Some steel toe boots. What are you? Nope. Hang on to this. And now we just pop back into our boss build and go from there. The bleed stack so fast. Yeah, I feel like do bosses maybe get corrupted blood stacks on them faster than mobs? Because I don't know if we did 10 war cries on that guy in the time it took, but didn't really feel like it. Maybe they stack up faster on big guys. Anyway. They get bled up, so like you're still doing damage to bosses even when you're like dodging mechanics, which is kind of nice. But then whenever you can wind up one of them big nasty perfect strikes, pop them. And some people have asked if I'm going to go Giant's Blood on this build, and it's a situation where, I mean, if I ever get enough strength, maybe I will. But one of the things that's nice about one-handers is you have a lot of just attack speed, which is pretty sweet. And eventually a lot of my clear is probably just gonna come from blasting the corpse explosions, right? I'm not sure. Sammy boy. The Lament of the Sam. How many do we have? They're immune to fire. Hold on a second. I want to get some of this stuff. We have to do this in a particular kind of way. Well, since they're always crits, is kind of not so sure about that one. I know that we're doing a little build update gameplay, but I want to. Dude, this is troll. Okay, whatever. Probably should have gone this way, huh? That doesn't really matter. This crypt is just weird for every single mechanic. Let's blow them up. But one-handers are kind of cool. Only mine using one-handers. But yeah, you could get mobs to like start doing the like corpse explosion chains with other things than bone shatter. But I mean, you see that? Like that's kind of nice, isn't it? I used bone shatter on this guy for a long time. And I like that it gives me the armor break, like guaranteed. Isn't that kind of nice though? Isn't that kind of sweet? Let me just go hit this, hit the town real quick. I'll just dump all this stuff off and I'll sort it out later. So we can keep on doing our little showcase here, our build showcase. But this, again, this is in hardcore solo self-bound. So this is like super something that you guys can do and still be effective at least up to this point. But we have like found all of my own gear and have not died. So, oh, what the heck? We could have come outside for all that. I didn't, okay. Good to know for next time. Found all of my own gear and have not perished yet. And this is still like what it's capable of, which I think is pretty cool. I do want to do the rituals. Where are them rituals at? We saw them when we were running through. Ritual can be kind of spooky, but I think we're okay. We'll be all right. But it does do a lot of cool stuff. It gives you good offense and defense in the form of being able to have a shield with good block, like regardless. Actually, I probably should have done the thingy first. I wonder if it would have become tribute. And the good offense and defense of like just being able to keep enemies at bay with your shouts, right? You kind of keep a melee off of you. And then again, if anything ever dies, you just blow it up. So it's good clear. I still like Bone Shatter though. I think it's just I like the gameplay of Bone Shatter. And you can scale the explosions. I think those get scaled off of like your just increased damage in general stuff too. You guys part of this thing? So it would appear. Let's go to the rest of them. But as our damage like scales, I think the pops are gonna get nastier too. Be pretty cool. I'll grab this. JK, I will not. So, little pools of blood. If we wanted to, we could just shout at these guys, and eventually they would bleed to death and start exploding, right? But the Bone Shatter kind of expedites that process. But yeah, I don't want to leap in the corner. So what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna yell at them until they perish, explode, killing all their friends. That's how it is. I'll just sit over here. Wait patiently for my time. Alright, where's our other one? Here it is. Ugh. But the build has been fun like the whole time. We kind of leveled it as like a standard kind of like just leap Bone Shatter guy. And we have continued to be pretty much a standard leap Bone Shatter guy. Except now we have all these war cries that kind of give me various offensive and defensive benefits and kind of go into a fun and a bit of a goofy playstyle. I wasn't sure that I wanted to do pure Warcry guy when we set out to make this character, and we still aren't really like a pure Warcry guy, but we're definitely leaning into them more and more as time goes on. It's kind of funny though. I don't really mind the playstyle. I actually really enjoy it. It's pretty fun so far. It feels very active, right? Oh, that's insane. Oh my god. We just found an Omen of Resurgence in hardcore. 2 Omens of Resurgence in hardcore? Oh my gosh. We're popping all the way off. Oh my gosh. 2 Omens of Resurgence hardcore. That's sick. Let's put this one here, so we don't need that, and then we'll dump all the rest of this, and we'll take a look at the rest of that bad boy. Insane, dude. Ritual hooking it up, man. So if you guys don't know what those are, it recovers all of your life when you get low. It's a cheat death, basically. That recovers your HP. And that, as you might imagine, those are pretty useful for old HC. We don't really have enough to re-roll, but we will. Anyway, probably give me a lot of the same stuff. Block, life, fizz. All right. Do we have anything that we want to defer? I don't think so. All right. Pretty juicy stuff, but that's the build as it stands right now. Pretty darn cool. Definitely a lot of fun, and something that you guys can probably cook up in Trade League for sure, but even solo self-found, it's kind of popping off. But speaking of popping off, we got to peace out because it's time for me to go chill with the fam. But wowie zowie, getting 2 Omens of Resurgence in hardcore is so sick, actually. That's juicy stuff. But yeah, the plan for the rest of this guy's talents is probably just to go down here, grab more strength, and go here for the fizz damage. But I might actually grab the block first, just for offense-defense combo. And what I'm actually thinking is, instead of using all these nodes to travel, I might just like put the next 4 points somewhere else useful, like in block. Something kind of cool like that, just so I can maybe even damage an AoE. Just so I can have something that's more immediately impactful than 5 strength. And then once we get enough nodes to make the whole travel and get points, then I will switch it over. But that's kind of what I want to do for the rest of the points that I have ultimately. But we'll see how it goes. I like the fact that we've built up our resistances and stuff. I do kind of wish I could get Titanic as well, but whatever. All in all, the build's fun. It's popping off. We're level 80, having a blast. We'll post this video for you guys, and then we'll see you on stream. All right, that'll be the plan. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see y'all in a little bit after we chill with the fam. Thanks for watching, dudes. Peace.